Good afternoon and welcome to the lecture Lindblom's Incremental Model Part 2. So in the part first we discussed about Lindblom's incremental model, but in this class we are going to discuss about some issues are there in the incremental model. So many thinkers, public policy analysts criticized this model, and and as as a defense against those criticisms, Lindblom's uh, gives some suggestions, some improvement strategy as a part of uh, his model. And in this class, we are going to study about that strategies, that improvement methods for his model, and the major criticism against Lindblom's model. Okay, Etzioni was a major critic of Lindblom's model. He also criticized the rational model and also Lindblom's incremental model. So he put forward a third approach, that is mixed scanning approach. According to Etzioni, uh, these two models are based on pluralist decision making. That means in the decision making system, there is a we can find a number of uh, decision makers are there. So it's a pluralist system. So in that kind of a system, there will be a chance of biased decisions. So these decisions were biased because of the pre-existing inequities in the power of participating interest and individuals. So there will be a chance of uh, partial uh, or a self-interest of everyone, or some kind of partial interest or some kind of personal interest will be there in the decision making system. So it is a biased system. That is a major criticism against these two models, that means incremental model and also rationalist model. So as a defense against this criticism, Lindblom's uh, uh, tries to make some changes in his ideas. So that is, in his work, Politics and Markets, Lindblom concedes much to Etzioni's critique of his theory of incremental pluralism. He recognized that pluralist decision making is biased. So he also he uh, recognized that this criticism is meaningful because pluralist decision making is biased. Not all interest and participants in the incrementalist politics are equal. Some have considerably more power than others, so there will be a chance for more influence on uh, policies from their uh, role. So business and large corporations, Lindblom analyzed, occupy a predominant position in the policy making process. So in his later work, and so in 1977, Lindblom proposes the need to improve uh, mutual partisan adjustment by greatly improved strategic policy making. So he also brings some improvement strategy for the method. In his subsequent article, Still Muddling Through, in 1979, Lindblom makes clear that the core idea in an incrementalist approach is the belief in skill in solving complex problems, and his aim is to suggest new, improved ways of muddling through. To do this, he draws a distinction between two things. First one, incrementalism as a political pattern with step-by-step changes. So incrementalism is based on political attitudes of the persons who is in the decision-making system. So with incrementalism as a political pattern, the changes happening with a step-by-step process. And secondly, incrementalism as a policy analysis. He also says that the model can be used for making analysis in the decision making system. So he also suggests his model as a method for or strategy for policy analysis. So in this article, he makes the case for analytical incrementalism as a method of securing the balance of power in a pluralist polity in which business and large corporations tend to exercise a powerful influence over the policy making process. He argues that there are three main forms of incremental analysis. That is, first one simple incremental analysis, second one strategic analysis, and third one disjoint incrementalism. So what is simple incremental analysis? It is a form of analysis in which only those alternative policies which are marginally different to the existing policy are analyzed. So for example, a policy is there. There is an existing policy, and uh, based on the incrementalist model, some additional changes uh, will occur to the existing policy. So the additional changes is marginal changes. So when the new policy with additions, the existing policy with additional changes is one policy, and the existing policy as a whole is another policy. So when compare the two policies, some marginal changes will be there. So simple incremental analysis is made, can be made very easier. And second one, strategic analysis. Lindblom argues that since completeness of analysis is not possible because of many constraints, many limitations, and analysts should take a middle position, informed, thoughtful, and uses methods to make better choices. These methods include trial and error learning, system analysis, operations research, management by objectives, and program evaluation and review technique. So another strategy, another way he suggests is that strategic analysis. So it is not a possible one. Possible. It is not possible to analyze the complete policy. Uh, the policy analyst can take a position of middle position. So uh, uh, several method can be used like trial and error learning. So when a policy is a new policy, when the decision makers make a new policy, the policy will be uh, a modified version of the existing policy. So when they put some changes in the existing policy, that may be some kind of error will be there, a chance of error. So when make a trial, there will be error, so they can avoid it, and that kind of a method can be used, trial and error learning and system analysis, operational. Some techniques can be used. That is his suggestions. And thirdly, he says that disjoint incrementalism is another way. Disjoint incrementalism is an analytical strategy which involves simplifying and focusing on problems by following six methods. By using six methods, by these six methods, um, uh, uh, incrementalism can be analyzed. So, what are the six methods? Limitation of analysis for a few familiar alternatives. So, some few familiar alternatives uh, is there. So, because some additional policy changes uh, are made by the method of incrementalism. So, there will be a, uh, an issue of limited analysis on familiar alternatives. And secondly, intertwining values and policies, policy goals with empirical analysis of problems. And thirdly, focusing on ills to be remedied rather than on goals to be sought. And fourth one, trial and error learning and analyzing a limited number of options and their consequences. Fragmenting of analytical works to many partisan participants in policy making. So the to avoid a kind of um, political biased decision making, they can add the normal citizens, the beneficiaries, as partisan participants in policy making and can be analyzed. So the some kind of techniques and tools are given by Lindblom to make it to be improved. Okay. In his work, A Strategy of Decision, jointly authored with David Braybook, Lindblom introduced the notion of disjoint incrementalism. He says this is a method of decision making in which comparison takes place between policies which are only marginally different from one another and in which there is no great goal or vision to be achieved. So, like rational policy making, so many there is no an issue of so many or bulk of alternatives or options or very best objectives are not to be a problem. So objectives are set in terms of existing resources and policy making take place by a trial and error method. It is disjoint because the decisions are not subject to some kind of control or coordination. When some incremental changes happens, it may be okay or may not be okay. So uh, no kind of um, um, control or coordination is not there. So this work places incrementalism in a continuum of understanding. So avoid it and then make another change. So it's a continuing process and a scale of change will happen after a long time of incremental changes. So that is, and also to avoid the biased system, he also suggests another strategy as a partisan mutual adjustment. In his work, The Intelligence of Democracy in 1965, Lindblom argues that decision making is a process of adjustment and compromise which facilitate agreements and coordination. Partisan mutual adjustment, he observes, is that democratic and practical alternative to centralized hierarchical controls. As Lindblom argues in his latest presentation, policy evolves through complex and reciprocal relations among all bureaucrats, elected functionaries, representatives of interest groups, and other participants. So, in the decision-making system, there will be bureaucrats, elected functionaries, representatives of the interest groups, and other participants. So, um, everyone, if tries to uh, uh, give their contribution and also to ready to accept the interest of others too, there will be a chance of a mutual adjustment between them. So a kind of biased or a one-sided policy making is not a problem there. So that is a strategy, a political a strategy given by or an improvement method suggested by Lindblom and in the name of partisan mutual adjustment. Okay. Lindblom argues that the bargaining encourages the representation of general interest. It strengthens the democratic process. It does so because the active participation encouraged by bargaining process creates a greater sense of citizenship and empowerment in the polity. So the bargaining incrementalism may not constitute the best of all conceivable worlds. They may represent the best of all possible worlds in a pluralistic political system. Although Lindblom is deeply pessimistic about experts and analysis, he yet is optimistic about the potential of wider social learning and greater participation in decision making by citizens. So he also supports that the participation from citizen is a very uh, good technique for making it more improved one. So the decision or policy process he defends would not be limited to experts, nor would it be based on scientific information. He opposes that any decision is not limited to some experts only or some scientific knowledge is enough for decision making is not agreed by Lindblom. Instead, the policy process would assign to a central inquiry may be non-partisan experts, but their major activities are to be provide information and analysis suited to the interactive role of participants in interaction. They should not strive for independent authoritativeness, but instead facilitate. So their role is not independently. We can take into account as a very independent authoritative attitudes or decisions or supports are not cannot be taken as a very independently, but the impressions or the interaction from the part of citizens or the beneficiaries can be included as very facilitating factors to the decision making system decision every decision making. So he warned against the exclusion of the recipients and beneficiaries of policy and deplored the possibility that policy substance would be determined by the so-called experts only. With Cohen, he observed that a scientific theory of decision making can make a significant contribution only by not attempting to wholly displace the ordinary knowledge. Since 1959, when Lindblom first advocated incremental decision making, there had been an apparent vault facing his arguments. In 1977 and 1979, Lindblom attacks the idea of pluralism, offers a radical critique of the business, and believes that there is a need for drastic radical change in the whole range of policy areas, and that the whole world is in need of more than simply incremental change. But societies seem incapable incapable except in emergencies of acting more boldly than in increments. Such are the constraints on decision making and on the way in which policy agendas are narrowly formulated. He argued that there is a need for improvement in decision making in pluralist democracies, but he has grave doubt as to possibility of drastic change in policies. In 1959, we have observed Lindblom, the pluralist, as an advocate of incremental decision making as the most effective mode of policy making. Yet Lindblom of the 1970s through 1990s is indeed a more radical critique of incrementalism as a political ideology. He has developed his ideas about the policy making process as moving slowly, but has continued to maintain that it can be improved. Both Dror and Stione, however, are not convinced that incremental model is either a realistic or a satisfactory normative account of decision making. To Dror, this model is profoundly conservative and is suitable in those situations where problems are quite stable over time and where there are adequate resources. So um, that is a major conclusion, a major criticism against Lane-Blom's model. The incrementalist approach to policymaking is in a dilemma. Critics note that its deductive power is constrained by the difficulty in specifying what an increment is, whilst its degree of confirmation is reduced by the typical occurrence of shift points in policymaking, which defy the interpretation of the incrementalist equation as stable linear growth models. For all its simplicity, this model seems to be too crude in the context of the complexity of policy process. Despite his substantial contribution to theory building in the policy arena, Lilblom's works attracted quite a bit of critical attention. The most general criticism of his work is that Lindblom presents a sweeping generalization but does not support them adequately with empirical evidence. Asani criticized that Lindblom made little use of precisely defined theoretical concepts or clearly specified analytical method. Taken as a whole, the central concern of his work has been, as said in the earlier class, the main limitation to the policy making or challenges to the policy making are politics, intelligence, and cost, etc. Are the major limitations as explained by Lindblom. But here in the model, we can see that uh, incrementalism has not been a major concern of his writings or his teachings, and but he made some more importance to relationship between power, human knowledge, and politics. And so, in his notes, already says that in 1993 he notes that anyone who wants to understand what goes wrong in the effort to use government to promote human well-being needs to comprehend how power relations shape and misshape public policy, and to probe how power relations might be restructured to produce better policy. So, what uh, Lindblom tries to say are totally based on power structure, relations, and the use of partisan agreement. So he is very little conscious about the need of or the use of incremental methods. So there is a major criticism against his uh, model. So that is the major strategy, methods, improvement strategies provided by Lindblom, and the major criticism against those models, improvements, and Also his writings and speeches on incremental model and all his and all the merits, demerits, and all issues of the model are uh, uh, given here. Okay, okay. Then in the next class we can discuss the other models. Okay, thank you.